Hi, I'm psychologist Dr. Rich O'Neill with this week's Checkup from the Neck Up. Well, dear fellow experimenters and living at our house, one of the thrills of Halloween is dumping all that candy out on the floor and sorting it. Milky Ways, Snickers, M&Ms, Twizzlers, chocolate kisses, little chocolate bars, little dark chocolate bars, little chocolate bars with peanuts, little chocolate bars with almonds. Guess you know who likes chocolate. Anyway, this year I didn't even have to go out to collect it. Just turned over the candy hander outer bowl that I'd made sure we had lots of extra stuff in after the last of the trick-or-treaters disappeared into the dark and stormy night. Anyway, after a little feast, I got to thinking about the other big Halloween thrill of putting on a costume and playing at being somebody different than we usually are. And I thought, we don't need to wait for Halloween to do that. We can try on a new identity anytime we want. Let me give you an example. My identity as Rich O'Neill has never had negotiating for compensation as a big part of it. People just ask me to do stuff, and typically I say yes. But this past week, a friend and colleague emailed and asked me to help out on some work, something we'd have a lot of fun doing. But I actually noticed this was a chance to try on a new identity, different from Rich O'Neill, the friend who likes to help friends, and Rich Dr. Neck Up, the psychologist and colleague who empathizes with getting the work done. Rich O'Neill, the businessman who asks for something in return to pay the college tuition, etc. And while I was thinking about how to do this, I paid attention to all the little voices in my head discouraging me from trying out this new behavior. A bunch of what we psychology types call negative predictions, thoughts that something bad will happen if you do this or that, in case something like they'll think you're greedy, or they'll be offended and say, forget it, we'll get somebody else. Even though I know, in Dr. Neck Up, the psychologist, that those kinds of thoughts just naturally pop up anytime we try something new, it wasn't easy to reply with those words, of course I'd love to do it, but before I say yes, is this a paying job? Well, I had to remind myself that I couldn't tell the future, didn't know how they'd respond, and gather my courage. Move aside the embarrassment of feeling that often also pops up when we're shedding our old skin and trying on some new bright colors, and get curious about how this experiment might turn out. Anyway, I haven't found out yet, but either way, I discovered something more important than the pennies, nickels, and dimes at the bottom of the candy bag. The sense of excitement that comes with reinventing ourselves. And I'm liking that a lot. Almost as much as chocolate. I'm Dr. Rich O'Neill. Thanks for listening.